like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Welcome back to an Kpop, where moments aren't just watched, they're felt. Today, we're not just talking about a magazine shoot. We're talking about the first spark of a new era. The first visuals. The first statement. The moment when 7 silhouettes step back into the light and the world collectively holds its breath. BTS is back, and this time, it feels different. Ring the alarm. Ring the alarm. Ring the alarm. Because what we just witnessed doesn't feel like a simple magazine feature. It feels like the ignition of a new era. Breaking news isn't dramatic enough to describe this moment. The first official visuals of BTS together again have arrived, and while they may not be labeled as the official concept photos for the upcoming comeback, let's be honest with ourselves. This is the beginning. These are the first images of them stepping back into the spotlight as 7, and they come through the powerful lens of GQ. That alone already sets the tone. This isn't casual. This isn't random. This is intentional. The behind-the-scenes video opens in a way that feels almost cinematic. The editing cuts sharply with the beat of the music, and immediately there's this pulse, like a heartbeat building anticipation. It doesn't feel like a typical fashion shoot. It feels like the opening scene of a film. The vinyl imagery, the dramatic pacing, the subtle ticking in the background, it all creates tension. You can feel something rising. It's grand. It's theatrical. It's as if the screen is whispering, "Are you ready?" And honestly, after 4 years of waiting, that question hits differently. What makes it even more intriguing is how the members are framed. There are moments that make you wonder if subunits are being hinted at, if the groupings mean something deeper. Maybe it's just artistic direction, but with BTS, nothing ever feels accidental. The styling, the colors, the way they stand, the way they move, everything feels deliberate. There's a maturity radiating from them that wasn't there before, not because they weren't talented, but because time has shaped them. Military service in South Korea is not just a pause in a career. It's life. It's structure. It's discipline. It's growth. And you can see that growth in their posture, in their expressions, in the quiet confidence they carry. Then we see the cover. An OT7 cover. 7 men standing together in warm brown tones with bold red cutting through the composition. The color story alone speaks volumes. Brown suggests grounding, stability, earthiness. Red suggests power, passion, intensity. Whoever orchestrated this visual narrative understood exactly what they were doing. And then there's the headline, BTS is back. Period. Followed by, any questions? That punctuation matters. The period after back feels definitive, almost daring. It's not asking for validation. It's not seeking approval. It's stating a fact. BTS is back. And if you have questions, they're ready. One of the most striking images is the one where they're seated at a long table surrounded by microphones. It instantly evokes press conference energy, but it also feels symbolic. It's reminiscent of moments in their past, like the bold defiance of "mic drop," but this time it's calmer. More composed. This isn't young artists trying to prove themselves. This is a global force that has already proven everything, sitting down as if to say, "We've returned. Let's talk." Their expressions are subtle but powerful. There's no desperation. There's no uncertainty. There's a quiet assurance that they know exactly who they are. The behind-the-scenes concept blurs the line between candid and curated. We see them walking toward what looks like a stage, playing ping pong, stepping out of a vehicle. It almost feels like we're being allowed into their downtime, but at the same time, it's clearly crafted. That duality is fascinating. It reinforces the idea that even their most relaxed moments are part of a larger narrative. They are artists who understand storytelling at every level. Even the black and white staircase shots carry symbolism. As they descend, it feels like they are stepping into a new chapter, one that is both familiar and entirely different. The magazine text itself adds another layer of weight. It speaks about the nearly 4 years since their hiatus for mandatory military service and how the members have grown as artists and as men. That phrasing is important. Growth as artists is expected. Growth as men suggests something deeper, something more personal. During their time apart, each member built a solo career that was not just successful but impactful. They explored genres, identities, vulnerabilities. They stood alone on stages that once felt inseparable from the group. And yet, the central theme emerging from their quotes isn't individual triumph. It's reunion. One member reflects on how meaningful it is to come back together after learning so much through solo experiences, emphasizing that those experiences are invaluable and cannot be bought. Another speaks about how the group identity is something they treasure more than individual success, reminding us that they debuted as 7 and that foundation remains their core. There's mention of a more mature sound, something different from what we've heard before, hinting that the next album will not simply revisit the past but evolve from it. There's acknowledgement of the reciprocal relationship with ARMY, the understanding that the fans influence them just as much as they influence the fans. There's relief and excitement in the leader's words about simply being back together and seeing supporters around the world again. There's humility in recognizing that their current position exists because of relentless hard work in their early years. And there's a sense of creative freedom in the description of the album-making process, suggesting that this era might carry more autonomy than ever before. That freedom feels significant. For years, conversations about artistic control and industry pressures have surrounded K-pop as a whole. To hear that the process felt liberating and free suggests that this comeback might be different structurally as well as sonically. It feels like they are returning not just as performers but as fully realized creators. The idea that they might have more input, more voice, more ownership over their work adds another layer of anticipation. This isn't simply a reunion for nostalgia. It's a recalibration. It's impossible not to reflect on their origin story in moments like this. BTS were not predicted to dominate the global music industry the way they have. They did not begin with the safety net of an established giant corporation backing them in the early days. Their rise was fueled by persistence, connection, and an almost unbelievable alignment of timing and talent. To see them now, featured prominently in a publication like GQ, confidently declaring their return, feels like witnessing the full arc of a narrative that defied expectation. They were not supposed to reach this level, and yet they surpassed it. That underdog energy has transformed into legacy. What makes this moment even more powerful is the emotional undertone. There's a sense of gratitude woven through their words. A recognition that their journey has been extraordinary. A subtle acknowledgement of the challenges, both public and private, that came with global fame and a prolonged hiatus. Coming back together after time apart is never simple. Dynamics shift. People change. But the way they stand in these images suggests stability rather than tension. It suggests that the time apart strengthened rather than fractured them. You can almost feel the momentum building beyond the magazine pages. This feature feels like the spark before the fire. It opens the door without fully revealing what's behind it. It teases without giving everything away. And that restraint is strategic. If this is only the introduction, the prelude, then what follows could be monumental. The anticipation doesn't feel chaotic. It feels calculated. It feels like a carefully planned rollout that is just beginning to unfold. There's something poetic about the phrase, begins again. It acknowledges the past without being trapped by it. It suggests continuity rather than repetition. They are not starting over. They are continuing, but on a higher level. A more evolved plane. The question posed about whether they are stronger alone or together feels almost rhetorical at this point. Their solo successes proved their individual power. But the electricity in these group visuals hints that the real force lies in their unity. As the video ends and the images settle in your mind, one feeling remains dominant. Certainty. Certainty that this era will be different. Certainty that growth will be visible not just in sound but in narrative. Certainty that the global stage they return to is even larger than the one they left. And above all, certainty that this is not a casual comeback. It's a statement. It's a reclamation. It's 7 artists stepping back into formation with the calm assurance of those who know exactly what they are capable of. The alarm has rung. The visuals have dropped. The door has opened. And if this is only the first glimpse of what's to come, then the next chapter of BTS is not just approaching.